It's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's Superhero Slate. It's a modern podcast where we talk about everything that's great, like movies, TV, superheroes. It's Superhero Slate. Oh yeah.
Hello everyone and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, and superheroes, so let's talk it all out.
My name is Chris.
And my name is Daddy.
Oh, weird. This is a kinky episode so far. I like it. But we'll talk about that in a minute. But this week on this episode, we're revisiting the Netflix Daredevil-verse, Mike.
Yeah.
Slash
it's
Daddy.
Mandatory now.
Yeah,
you have to go back. You have to go back and watch that third season.
Yes, that we have. I think we have both skipped at this point. So we've got homework to do. What If teases Gundams for season 3, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Avatar: The Last Airbender delivers a great live-action trailer, which is scary because, boy, do we want that to be good. And more.
Speaking of Avatar, it is one of the #1 animated TV shows, which I will absolutely be showing my future child. Yes. That is right. The first child of the Superhero Slate podcast.
Congratulations.
Is on the way. Thank you very much.
Here I am. I told Mike I've got some champagne. You probably can't hear the bubbles on the microphone, but I've got champagne to Mike, aka Daddy Mike. I
thought you were just taking me for a ride, but is it actually champagne that you're drinking?
Yeah, I am. I'm drinking champagne right here.
Well, that's great.
It would not open. My hands are in pain from trying to open that cork. It's totally fine. It's totally fine. Well, yes, congratulations to you and your lovely wife, who I will maintain I've known longer than you still at this point.
Yes, that's true. Technically, no longer. But if we're looking at the body of ours,
the content between me and you is quite. The library is quite
the volume
larger.
Is absolutely one-sided in my favor.
Absolutely.
But for the podcast, what does this mean? I guess I'll have a slightly more perspective in the future on children's content.
Yeah.
Whenever we kind of talk about these animated properties, they're like, who's watching this stuff? I was like, probably be feeding the content to my
you're
child.
you're going to be watching a lot more Disney Plus stuff that you didn't think you'd ever watch before.
I'm kind of curious, just like, is the Bluey trend going to be gone by the time my child is old enough to be watching something?
I don't think
that,
they're going to care. I think once they watch it, they're not going to know if it's live or not, Mike. You're going to get the same episode over and over and over again.
I am going to be curating all of my child's cartoon watching. And whether they like it or not, they'll have to work their way.
As parents out there, how many times did you say that before you just kind of gave in because that didn't work?
Oh, yeah, I know. There's probably lots of people rolling their eyes right now.
They love your optimism, for sure. But little do you know, Chris Flicks has a lot of children's content on it that you can maybe get a head start on.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I would have to say the timing is going pretty well here. It looks like our delivery from the stork is going to be sometime around August. So it seems like before my life changes entirely forever, it seems like I'll be able to get Deadpool 3 in there, which is nice of Marvel to really only put one big movie on the schedule in the year of our child's first birth. So that was very convenient. And then I gotta imagine I will be off the show for a little bit, trying to figure out how do I keep this thing alive.
Mentally, I was preparing for this as well. I was like, we're gonna be recording some weird hours, probably starting in August, and that's perfectly fine because as a show that's more of a hobby than a job for us, I feel it'll be pretty a good exercise after 10 years of recording to shake things up a little bit for both of us. So.
Yeah, not to mention I would be just down the hall from the baby's room, from the nursery, if you will. So you know how sometimes, listeners, you occasionally hear a cat meowing behind Chris, and it'll be like the shriek of a child.
Yeah, exactly. Or your wife, maybe just yelling in frustration. One of the two. You never know.
That damn podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. But yes, again, congratulations on everything. So we'll if you guys know Mike personally, reach out to him. We'll share everything at the bottom of the show. How you can reach out to him at what life rewards risk. I think there's a contact form there they can reach out to you at. Maybe you might have a social channel for that. I don't know how they get
PDF. There's a PDF you print out, then you sign it, and then you're gonna have to get your own stamp. So I can't tell you how to do that.
PO box.
But,
you have a PO box?
Yeah.
You got a PO box
No.
for this? Oh damn. Oh well. All right. So let's dive into what you've been doing. Yeah. Other than celebrating like a madman, what else have you been up to?
Yeah, what a hard pivot from one of the biggest pieces of news I'll have to announce in my entire life to like,
Yeah.
oh, I've been watching some TV.
Yeah.
There's a show on, I guess I don't know if it's a Max original at this point in time. I don't remember where it started. But it's a show called The Other Two. It's pretty funny. It's about these two siblings that are struggling in their careers, and their youngest brother just happens to basically be the equivalent of Justin Bieber. So essentially their lives are totally overshadowed by this megastar that lives with them. But they're all just kind of, it's like nonsensical, just like awful people like floating through the entertainment industry. The only reason I bring it up is because we're watching the final season 3, right now. And there is a really funny guest spot where the mom, the matriarch of the family, is so incredibly famous she can only date like super powerful people. So she's dating Simu Liu, and they keep calling him Marvel's Simu Liu. And he appears in, I think, the 7th episode of season 3, and it's just like really, really funny. So if you just wanted to dive in and watch like one random episode on Max, it would be season 3, episode 7. There's a whole funny bit about where they make a fake Applebee's on a soundstage.
Oh, fucking
It's all
Applebee's!
really, really
Why does it always come back to Applebee's on this show? I swear.
And they hire extras to play all of the other people in the restaurant because they're trying to give somebody like a normal like birthday dinner, and all of the extras are just saying peas and carrots, peas and carrots, peas and carrots, and they're just like, oh, I gotta order the peas and carrots, everyone's raving about them. And then it descends into madness. It's like, have you noticed everyone around us is saying peas and carrots, but nobody's eating the peas and carrots? So it's just really funny. So go check that out. But also, I finally got around to watching the latest installment of the Mission Impossible franchise, Dead Reckoning, which I believe is not called Part 1 anymore. I kept seeing those headlines the other week.
Yeah, they've removed the part from it, Part 1, and they're still doing a sequel, but I think they're going to change the name because you even had struggle typing in the name to get this.
Yeah,
far.
I'm just like looking at the word reckoning, and I was like, looks like I spelled this word wrong. Like, how often do you ever use the word reckoning in your real life? And when you do, how often do you have to write it down as well?
Yeah.
But the movie was fun. I mean,
in the non-biblical sense, I guess. But yes, absolutely.
Yes, exactly. But the movie's fun. The set pieces are great. The action is always fun. I watched like a big Man of Recaps video where he recapped all of the movies up until this one, and it's just crazy watching like Tom Cruise just kind of like rapidly age in front of you. Like he looks really good for his age, but like, man, when this movie started and he kind of like steps out of the shadows and in his very first scene, you're just like, oh wow, he is looking way older compared to some of the other films that I just speed ran there a couple minutes ago.
Yeah, I like the Mission Impossible movies. Again, I think they're very solid. This one they actually cut out. There was a huge, I think it was a half-hour intro of Tom Cruise de-aged, like reliving that scene that they, I think, essentially distilled down to like maybe 3 minutes. But they filmed like I think 30 minutes of the movie doing that. That they were gonna have a big opening intro in flashback form from essentially the first Mission Impossible movie.
Maybe they'll pull that in for the sequel. I mean, this is the first Mission Impossible movie that's like not finished in a way. It's definitely a part 1 because you don't get the satisfying hero saving the world by the end. They just kind of completed a really hard mission.
The action, you mentioned action. The set pieces in this, they just keep going. Like every time I'm like, there's a big thing. We've all seen the trailer where he jumps the bike, right, and then gets into the parachute, and he practiced and he did that himself. But jumping onto the train, and then there's a whole section with the train even beyond that that keeps going. So. Yeah,
I got to imagine the Uncharted games were referenced in that final train set piece because there's a portion in one of the Uncharted games where you're doing exactly what that train does in that final act with that cliff. And it was pretty intense to see it kind of filmed in live action. There's the single thing I hate the most about this movie, though, is the personification of a computer program. Like, I can believe, it's easy for me to believe an AI could, go rogue and, like, take over the world's, computer databases or whatever it's doing. And I can even go to the leaps and bounds that it almost has, like, a personality in a way, and it's, like, toying with people. But I hate it when they make it look like an eyeball on a screen because it's just like, it's so cheesy to me when so much other part of the film is like kind of, sophisticated in a way. They try to make it, appear realistic. It's just like the computer didn't need an eyeball. It feels like very like 90s cheesy.
Well, it's not even
Bond
that.
to me,
They took 2001: Space Odyssey essentially is what it is. It's the red HAL essentially was what it looks like.
But that is much better.
I know
because that is just a singular light that's indicating.
That is a robot, right? Like he talks to that robot. This one, it doesn't really talk. It has a human, if you will, the human villain, if you will, the flesh and blood minion, played I forget his name, something Morales. He was a great actor. He played a very, very smooth villain as the human part of this. So absolutely. And what's her name? Haley Atwell, obviously Captain Carter was a huge addition to this.
And also, I never remember how to say her name exactly, but Mantis is in it as well as kind of a henchman as well.
Yes, a very conflicted one as well. I think she'll be back for the Palm Clementif.
Clementif, that's
yeah. I think she'll be back. I think most of these people will be back for the next one as well, because it sets a stage for the sequel.
Yeah, but I think the best thing about the movie, which I don't feel like I recall seeing in previous Mission Impossible movies, where there are pretty like funny moments where like they're actually like doubting themselves or thinking like, oh God, am I actually going to be able to do this? Like when Tom Cruise is on the top of that cliff and he's just like, you want me to jump? I feel like Tom Cruise in every other iteration of Mission Impossible never even would have kind of like, bitched about it. He just would have done it because he's a badass action star. But it's kind of funny bringing in a little bit more humanity. Like when they're driving the little Fiat throughout Rome, I thought that was pretty funny. And I don't know if it was like a creative decision to make it an electric car, but it had like no like vroom to it. Just sounded like a little whining electric motor. So that just added a little bit to the comedic effect.
And then Simon Pegg riding shotgun in an auto driving vehicle as well. Through the countryside while he was giving Tom Cruise directions. Yeah, I had a really good time when I watched it this summer. It felt like a pretty solid action film, right? For that, like coming off of Top Gun Maverick from Tom Cruise, and then to that was two pretty solid hits back to back for me. So I'm excited for the next one. I don't know when we're gonna get it, but I know Tom Cruise was mad. This is what we talked about, I think last week or 2 weeks ago. His him leaving Paramount and going over to Warner Brothers was this film because he went over budget. They were like, you can't just make a movie without telling us what you're doing, kind of deal. So I don't know when it'll be made, but
they also released it a week before Barbie and Oppenheimer, which seems like a strategic blunder.
Well, he was. I don't know if you remember, I was talking about this earlier in the year. Tom Cruise was mad that he didn't get enough IMAX time with it because of Oppenheimer's IMAX exclusivity window. So, which is going back to IMAX, or has been back to IMAX due to the Academy Award nominations this season. So, I'm glad you got to watch it. I'm excited. It's like the one the one thing I can always trust in a Mission Impossible movie is that they're gonna go rogue, and guess what they did pretty quickly. I actually watched the intro a couple weeks ago. There's a desert scene which happens pretty quick, and then he goes and there's where they're talking, the government officials are talking about the AI, right, and disclosing the Impossible Mission Force, which I thought was a really fun scene as well. So I like them. I have no fault with the mission. I don't think I'd watch the first one again from like 96, but everything beyond that I think was pretty solid.
Yeah, I would say the franchise never elevates enough to make like fanatics, right? I don't think there's any like Mission Impossible like super fans out there. I think there's just people out there that are just like, yeah, Mission Impossible movie, I'll go check it out. Yeah,
you're guaranteed a good time, if nothing else. So that's a plus. And they always seem that, I mean, I know recently has been Chris McQuarrie has been doing a lot of, but like J.J. Abrams was in there. they've had a multitude of directors, right, kind of come in and work on some of the projects. So that's been cool. But speaking of 1996, Mike, I always talk about this, and I always like to share my stuff. I had a wish list of old video game consoles I never had as a kid, but I saw and I always wanted. I'm like, one day I want to get one of these when I'm an adult and I have my own money. There's 3 games on this: a Sega CD, a Sega Saturn, and a Virtual Boy. And somehow I have manifested all 3 of those, the wheeling and dealing trades, the past week. And I don't know how, and I don't know why, but I'm going to take it because, it's just great. So I got a Virtual Boy. And I don't know if you've ever got to experience that Virtual Boy in person, Mike, or not.
I think briefly I remember myself being at a Toys R Us back in the day where they had one sitting out, and I got to stick my head in it for a second.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, wow, everything's red and black, and I think that's the last thing I remember.
Yeah, and it truly is. There's only like 13 games in North America that ever came out for the Virtual Boy. They killed it within a year. But it is by far one of the earliest, I guess, consumer offerings for virtual reality that you could ever get or experience, because you put it on your head and you see things in 3 dimensions. And the reason it's red and black, they actually tried color, they said, but they couldn't get people to see depth on those screens back then. Mind you, technology was limited, so they went to red and black. And everyone remembers the quote-unquote eye cancer you get from playing Virtual Boys due to the red and black. And so I've got Mario Tennis, and I'm getting it repaired through a retro video game company that specializes in repairs, modifications, updating, things like that. But I had a really good time playing it. And what I did not know about a Virtual Boy, Mike, and I don't know if you knew this or not, it doesn't have a power cord. It runs exclusively off batteries in the controller.
Whoa, that's weird.
So, like, the controller, you hold it down, and I think it's 6 AA's. You plug it into the controller kind of like a regular Nintendo or Super Nintendo port, and then it just runs off that. That's how you power the whole thing. So you can literally play it anywhere you want to put up the little kickstand and look like you're doing something. So, yeah, I'm very, 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 very thrilled to add that to the collection and play. Everyone's like, "Oh, you're just collecting these things you're never going to play." I'm like, "No, I'm going to play Mario Tennis. We're gonna play some Virtual Boy." The one thing I can't do is film, like gameplay of Virtual Boy, because I'm like, what are you going to do? Just watch me with my head in this thing the whole time going, wow, or dang. But the other part was, for Quest, we're Quest owners. We have actual VR headsets, modern VR headsets. You can go to the SideQuest App Store and download a Virtual Boy emulator if you want to, and play it like that. So if you want to experience it and you don't want to pay for the old hardware that may fail on you, you can put it in your VR headset and give that a go. So try that. Well, Mike, let's jump into the news a little bit here. I'm excited for this because we just talked about movies that get us excited and like feel like classic blockbusters or action films in theaters. And this, for me, is Dune Part 2 coming up. And I know you've not had a chance to watch Part 1 yet, and totally understand. So we're not going to ruin anything for you. But Part 2 is coming up the 1st of March, and there are early screenings. I woke up to an email this week saying early screening tickets are available. So on Sunday, February 25th, a month from this weekend, I get to go watch this. So if you're interested in getting to see Dune Part 2 2 weeks early, you can go check that out, or get your regular tickets when it comes out in normal theater times. I
mean, I think it's going to be really difficult for them to find theater space, because I can only imagine after Madam Web drops on Valentine's Day, they're just going to we need a wider release. I want all of the screens. People are flocking to see this film. Dakota Johnson's really moving those tickets. Bump Dune out. Nobody needs Dune.
Yeah.
I saw the headline that said Dune 2 pre-sales were breaking the AMC's website. That's not true at all. It was the Madam Web pre-sale tickets that was getting in there.
Can we buy Madam Web tickets yet? I don't even know if they're on sale.
I legitimately looked the other day, and I may have been maybe a day or two too early looking, but I'm curious.
Yeah, I see the times now, but I don't see. Can I buy it? Maybe. But either way, I would normally agree with you, Mike. I would say, Mike, you're right. You're 100% right on all your theories and all your speculations here. However, I'm going to disagree, because have you seen the Dune 2 popcorn bucket lids? because
Yes,
that is what
I
people
have.
are going to buy at the movie theaters.
I saw those late at night, which meant it was even later at night for you.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think Chris is pretty good about like kind of putting do not disturb on his phone. So I think I can send these to him without waking him up. And then in the
I would
back of my
I
head,
would have
was
hoped
like,
it
no,
woke me up. Yeah.
I want him to wake up and see these nightmarish popcorn buckets.
Yeah, they they've made the jokes online. They essentially are led to go over the top of the popcorn buckets that look like the sandworms, with little like the little mouth, I guess, like filter things or whatever.
Yeah, is it like it looks like I think in your
Like what
intestines
whales have?
it would be like villi.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think in whale is it like doesn't it start with like a B or something?
I don't know, man. But you know what I'm talking. We all know what we're talking about. It looks like if you've seen the sandworms in the Dune commercials, that's what it looks like, and or it looks like something sexual. One of the two. It depends on which side of the fence you're on.
Yeah. It really doesn't help too that it's kind of like flesh colored overall too, like the sand flesh colored. The worm is kind of like gray.
You
so
have
it's
to
kind of...
put your hand into the worm's mouth to get the popcorn. Like it's not even easy access to anything. Now, mind you, you could probably turn it upside down and very little would fall out. That's a plus. But getting it out is going to be some work.
I've seen people online that said, "Oh, there's a consumer products person somewhere that's going to get fired," and I say, "Nay."
Yeah.
When is the last time a popcorn bucket has ever made headlines?
It made mainstream.
Give that person a promotion.
It made mainstream articles I saw, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel vindicated in all my collections so far. So I'm debating on if I want to get the Dune one or not, Mike. Should I get the Dune one?
Oh, you have to get this. Oh my god! Like I don't know if the bucket underneath it is like cardboard or if it's
metal, like
maybe
that.
Metal. It kind of looks like it could be metal, so you could definitely reuse it. You could put other useful things inside of there.
Yeah. No. Maybe. I don't know. That's weird, but it's interesting. But I've not seen a single Madam Web popcorn vessel, Mike. If they had one that was maybe showed a picture of that one time her mom was in the Amazon forest before she died. Researching spiders, maybe, but we're not going to get any of that here. Why is it the Sony movies get all the good memes? So there's that, and they had the Morbin time for Morbius, right? Like, I'm kind of jealous they get all the good memes. But anyway, Dune Part 2, very excited to watch this. I'm sure for those people like yourself, Mike, who've not seen the first one, they will have probably dual screenings if you want to see, be in the theaters like 6 hours watching these. The last time I sat in the theater for more than one movie, I was with you for the Iron Man marathon. And while it sounds cool, boy, I regretted that. I regretted that immensely afterwards because
it is intense.
It is something that I am an indoor cat, Mike. I live a sedentary lifestyle sometimes. 10 years ago, 11 years ago, even probably not as much, but like, boy, that was a killer. Like, that's just rough.
Yeah.
So
the only upside is if you're ever going to do a marathon like that, it's got to have a new movie at the end of it. You got to have something that you're working towards. If the last movie in the marathon is something you've already seen, you're just wasting your time.
Yeah. Ours is Iron Man 2, Iron Man 2, Avengers, and then Iron Man 3. And I think Avengers was I liked watching Avengers again in the theater. That was fun. But the other two could have taken or left it. But anyway, Dune coming out. Get your tickets. Very, very excited for that. If you don't want to go to the movie theaters and watch a movie, you can go purchase Iron Man and the Lost Kingdom on any digital platform now that came out this week. For that, and I just saw the news, Mike, today. Iron Man and the Lost Kingdom is the first DCEU movie to pass 400 million worldwide since Aquaman 1 came out.
Chris, you've said it twice in a row now, and you have not caught your Freudian slip of Iron Man and the Lost Kingdom.
Really? It's Aquaman. Yeah, sorry. Absolutely. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom.
Now I'm just imagining, like, in what universe could we get an Aquaman and Iron Man crossover? It'd be kind of fun, because Iron Man would have to go out of his way to make, like, a deep-sea suit, which I think could look pretty cool. Like, that sounds very Saturday morning cartoon.
It is. And also, like, the attitude of Iron Man and the attitude of Aquaman, like, I would love to see that clash on screen as well, because, Aquaman is not, he's more bronze than brain, and then Iron Man is brains over bronze, so I would love to see this team up as well. But absolutely, sorry, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, you can buy it on digital platforms, and it is the second most successful worldwide movie theatrically since Aquaman 1 And the closest one to come close was actually Black Adam, had 390 million, Mike. So that's just sad, because some of those, like, the Suicide Squad was pretty good, right? Like, that deserved to make a lot of money. Now, mind you, it came out what was it, when Max was doing the day and date streaming things.
It was also like, it was pandemic adjacent too, so
and but movies like Wonder Woman 84 did not deserve to make so much money. So I can go both ways. But absolutely, congratulations. And if you haven't watched it, now's your chance to do it. For that, I would say it's probably going to hit Max or Netflix in another like 2 months or so. So if you're not into Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, Mike, I'm going to really enunciate this going forward. You can catch the Marvels, Captain Marvel 2, sequel to Captain Marvel, sequel to kind of WandaVision, sequel to Miss Marvel. It is now also available on digital purchase this week. Came out the same day as well. And if you don't want to purchase it, I'm not here to dissuade you. If not, it comes to Disney Plus on February 7th as well. So that's around the corner.
I feel like Disney Plus is going to be a lot of people's first viewings of the Marvels, since it didn't really do a great job with the box office, at least here in the United States. I don't know how it did internationally. But yeah, check it out. Chris and I both liked it. Step in the right direction overall for Marvel, but not like...
It's fun. It's a fun movie.
There's not any like huge revelations necessarily happening inside of this movie, but the cast is fun. There's some fun moments.
Yeah, absolutely. It's again, Iman Vellani steals the show, right, as Miss Marvel in this movie. And if you've not seen Miss Marvel, you can watch this, and that would probably give you enough juice to go back and watch it to see her in that, because she's with that. But absolutely, Disney Plus. This is also, I don't have this in the notes here. This is an interesting movie because it is Best Buy is getting rid of their physical media collection, so they're no longer doing steelbooks. So Walmart has picked up the steelbook slack for this one and is doing the exclusive steelbook for the Marvels. So get add that to my collection here in about a month as well. Let's get into this. We talked about this at the top show. One of our main talking points today is Daredevil Born Again. It is back filming. They are doing a real set photos. So one of the set photos has confirmed there's assigned the law offices of Murdock, Nelson, and Page, which if you've seen Netflix's Daredevil, you will know that is the name of the law offices at the end of season 2, maybe. That's about as far as I got. I didn't watch 3. But I obviously we knew that they were going to have their own law offices. He's a lawyer by day, vigilante by night. But some of the street art confirms what we've talked about several weeks ago, is that the character Muse will be the probably the villain for a lot of this show going on here. And I see that because you can see his name under the pin signature. I didn't see that the first time I looked at this. I'm like, how is this telling me Muse? But he signed it underneath the picture.
Or it could be, like we mentioned, it could be also like a partial villain as well. We know that this show, we don't have a definitive episode count of this series because Vincent D'Onofrio was recently interviewed, and he was just like spilling the beans of just like, oh yeah, the episode count keeps getting messed with. I don't really know how many we're at just yet, but I got to imagine if they originally were slotting for like 17, 18 I can't imagine it get cut by such a factor that it's down to like 9 or 10. So maybe we're dealing with like 12.
I was gonna say 13 like to go back to. I mean, if they're pulling so much from the Netflix era, Netflix had 13 episodes, right? Remember, per season. So I could see them minimum going to 13. However, I still feel they're gonna probably be in like that 15 range, probably, with it. But it is fun to see some of this. It makes me, think, this artwork just kind of looking like there's the dollar bill, like they keep using the Illuminati symbol there, right, or whatever the pyramid looking thing on that, and then the angry Kingpin, which is the fiery version there, which I think was some cool contrasting artwork. So it doesn't look like Muse is working for Kingpin though, right? Looks like maybe he might be against him in this world. Other news, Wilson Bethel will return as Bullseye in the series, Mike, which was a huge shock to me because I didn't think they'd pull many more actors out of the show. But I've not seen Daredevil season 3, so now I have to go watch it and check this out.
it really is solidifying itself more as almost a fourth season of Daredevil, way more than I thought that they ever would. But I guess they're just moving forward with that idea of like, if it's not broken, don't fix it. You know, if people were liking it on Netflix, let's just keep it going here on Disney Plus. I wonder if there's any sort. I'm curious what, if any, like legal issues that there are with Netflix, of like, are there things that they can or can't reference because, you know, it was originally in the Netflix version of the show. You know, I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they claimed when they came to Disney Plus last year, technically Marvel owns the rights to all the content and production. Netflix owns the distribution rights. So we are in the clear on everything they can reference going forward.
Gotcha. That's good to know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, do I go back and watch season 3, or do I just watch the same recap video I watched a couple years ago when I wanted to catch up on what was happening in the Daredevil universe? I don't know. It's very, very addictive to just watch these recaps, so maybe I'll just do that.
I was trying to figure out maybe, looking at Metacritic and Rotten Tomatoes, Daredevil Season 3, 97% on the critic tomato meter, Mike. 86% audience score. So that makes me feel pretty good about watching it on that regard. So I don't think I'm going to have a problem going back to it. See.
Yeah. If no one remembers, the gap between Daredevil Season 2 and Season 3 was The Defenders, which is something we try not to think too much about. But I think, like, Daredevil gets his, gets himself, blown up.
He gets buried under the rubble.
Den or something, and then he ends up in the Hudson River, and that's where Season 3 picks up.
Well, they introduce his mother from the comic books, right? The sister. He's picked up by the Catholic Church and brought back there, and then there's a character pretending to be Daredevil, who we find out is I think Bullseye from the trailers. So this is probably something, if I do watch it, this is not something I need to sit and pay attention to the whole time. I can I can get some vibes from it and move along with that. But the other part of this is it also the show will reference the Punisher Netflix series directly, similarly to how the Kingpin's past was referenced in Echo. Pulling bits and pieces of it from there, what they need to. So I didn't watch season 2 of Punisher either. So boy, do I have some homework to do.
We got work, Chris.
I did see that if they are moving forward with Iron Fist, it will not be with Danny Rand, but with a different character. They could bring back what's his name, Finn Jones, as Danny Rand, but he will not be the Iron Fist. He would just be more of a reference character going forward. So
I saw a hot take circulating. I don't know if it was on Twitter or somewhere else, but somebody was trying to say Finn Jones was not the issue with Iron Fist. He was a good, and I just try to stay out of the fray of internet comments, but all I wanted to tell them was just no, he was bad too. Don't bring him back.
And we try not to apply a lot of back scenes drama, but he also didn't work out or practice any of his martial arts before the show, and you feel that if he's the number one martial arts person, he sucked at doing it quite a bit. So you want to if you're gonna put him in a high level production, you need to hold him to a higher standard. So we'll do that. But this is great. This is awesome news. You can watch this stuff on Disney Plus. And feel if you've not watched it, might not be, or you have watched it, maybe now's a good time to go back and revisit some of the older shows on Netflix, or not Netflix, Disney Plus now, that were on Netflix before. So we'll see how much they pull from this kind of going forward. Another rumored report this weekend is that actress Rachel Weisz and actor Laurence Fishburne will reprise their roles from Black Widow and Ant-Man films in the upcoming Thunderbolts movie as well. I never thought, nothing against the Black Widow film, but I didn't think Rachel Weisz would come back for anything. I think, to me, she holds herself to high-end movies, artsy films, or was it? So I didn't think she'd ever probably come back to Marvel, but money talks. And Laurence Fishburne, he's been voicing characters in Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, the animated series, Mike, which you need to get familiar with because you're going to need to. With kids coming up. He's also been doing the What If characters as well. So I think he's I think he'd be game to come back in the movie.
Did Rachel Weisz play Black Widow's mom?
Well, she trained them. She wasn't her real mom, but they called them mother. Like they pretended to be mother and father in the flashbacks.
Yeah, because her version of the character was in that What If episode, right? I think.
I don't think she was. I don't think she.
When they go to the town with all of
the
robots
Captain
and
Carter
stuff.
one. The Captain Carter one.
Yeah.
It might have been her. It might have been. I don't know if it was or not. That's a good question. It was not her voicing the character. I'm pretty sure. So,
Man,
but
a whole lot riding on Thunderbolts. I saw a funny, I guess only funny to me, interview where they had oh god, why can't I remember the actor's name who played the Winter Soldier?
Sebastian Stan.
Right on the Sebastian Stan. That's right. He was kind of doing, I think, award season kind of press out there in the world, and of course, he gets asked about like Marvel, and he kind of skirts his way around of how all of these other movies are performing, because I think that was the question. He's like, yeah, but I'm excited to go back for Thunderbolts. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm like, oh boy.
Well, I think obviously his last appearance was in Falcon and Winter Soldier, which some people love, some people don't, and very very divided down the viewership line there. So I think I like him when he plays the true Winter Soldier, right? Like from the Winter Soldier and Civil War, when he was playing that. So to humanize him a little bit, I get he's growing, he's got characters, but like to see him leading a team would be awesome, right? Rather than just being like reactionary, like to see him actually taking his knowledge of fighting and wars and push forward would be great. But this with Rachel Weisz returning, we have Yelena returning to this movie, right? Florence Pugh, and then Ghost, the character who played Ghost, Hannah John Kamen, I believe is her name, will be back in that as well. So I think bringing in characters from their history would be very interesting. And I would the Red Guardian as well is going to be in there. So I'm excited for Thunderbolts. Other than Sentry, Mike, I'm biased with Sentry, but I'm trying not to be as biased. But this is a very very exciting thing if they're trying to bring all these people back. But we're talking about Marvel, some other stuff. What If season 3? We got confirmation. We had a teaser a couple weeks ago, a little video clip. Now we get some images that are might be related to it. I don't know. But season 3, I sent one picture to Mike because boy does this rustle my jimmies in a good way. They're bringing mech suits into What If, and that is just thrilling for me to see these mech suits. I know there's toys for Marvel, like Mech Warriors or Mech something. You can get the monster, like the heroes are mechs and the villains are monsters. But like looking at this, I'm very excited to see what this story is. Is it like a Pacific Rim style story? What are they fighting here in these suits?
Yeah. What like how do you contrive a reason why these heroes need gigantic mechs to begin with? I'm sure it's going to be silly, but I'm here for it.
Yeah.
They look awesome.
What If is where you get silly though. Like that's where you want to pull in the things you can't do this in live action. So obviously we have I'm pretty sure this is Sam Wilson Captain America based on the color scheme here in the next image we have, and then Photon or Monica Rambeau. Hers looks more maybe like Evangelion a little bit, and his looks more like a true Gundam style. So like hers is very slick and his is more bulky with that. So you can check out that in our show notes. And then the next one is obviously, Anthony Mackie and Monica Rambeau in their respective What If art styles. I don't know who the person is behind them. I think it's just someone who works there. I don't think that's a real superhero. Do you?
No, it just looks like some dude to me.
I was worried it was Bucky, and I'm like, that's not Bucky. Is it? It's not Winter Soldier. But you can check out that in our show notes. And the other one was continuing. I think was the clip we saw is the Red Guardian and the Winter Soldier. And this is why I thought maybe it wasn't Bucky, because I'm like, oh, he's right here in this clip with the long hair, looking at a glass window. And then also we get to see Red Guardian versus Goliath, again voiced by Laurence Fishburne here. So this one, I don't know what this What If's about with the Red Guardian, Winter Soldier, and Giant Man, but I'm on board for it. It seems to be something that again they wouldn't do in the movies along the way. So maybe like a Cold War era thing. Do you think? Maybe.
Yeah, it could be.
So we'll check it out. If we get more, hopefully we've seen more of season 3 of What If than we have X-Men 97, and I think it's further along than this. So I'm kind of interested to see when this is going to release along the way too. So we'll keep you guys posted. Star Wars: The Bad Batch. Mike, you haven't watched this show yet, have you?
No,
okay.
And I probably won't.
Okay, that's fine. So this is a continuation of the Clone Wars. I don't know if it was written, but at least conceived by Dave Filoni, spinning out of the Clone Wars, and the Bad Batch are clones with special features / defects. Season 3, the final season, will debut on Disney Plus February 21st, and they're going to do weekly releases, a couple bi-weekly, leading up to May the 4th. Which there's always a big Star Wars celebration. May the 4th be with you also, right? So they're leading up to have this done right. Literally, I think the week of that coming out. And obviously this is, if you're a fan of the Clone Wars, this is a return to the animation and art style. The final mission, if you will, looks like for the Bad Batch here, because we don't see them in live action. But I will say one of the coolest parts about this is there's a return from Clone Wars eras, and if you watch the trailer, this is obviously no spoiler because it's in the trailer, Mike, is the return of Asajj Ventress in this, and she has a yellow lightsaber, which is unlike her.
Oh, yeah, I was clicking through the trailer here. It's like she has hair. That was confusing for me.
Yeah. So she got hair and a yellow lightsaber. So some time has passed. Obviously, she was betrayed by Count Dooku, brought back to life by the Dathomir witches. Which are a huge part of the upcoming Thrawn thing, but it looks like she's left all that behind and is wielding a yellow lightsaber, and I don't know if she's fighting the clones or if she's fighting with the clones or whatever. So very cool to see her return back to this world. I don't think she's not a Filoni creation. Asajj Ventress was also one of the guy who did Samurai Jack. I can't think of his name.
Tartakovsky.
Yes, so she debuted in his animated version of the Clone Wars in 2003 or so. Any inclination to return to this and watch the whole thing now that's wrapped up when it's done, or are you just going to do a recap video, Mike?
Like I was saying earlier, this might be prime recap material to me.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what it's going to, if obviously it's not going to lead in anything in particular, but with Dave Filoni's higher position as a CCO at Lucasfilm, and the I wouldn't say insistence, but they are consistently returning back to this art style for their shows, right? We have Clone Wars, we have this, we also have Tales from the Jedi that's in the same art style. Do you think they're going to announce something like a new ongoing series or another mini series similar to Tales of the Jedi kind of going forward?
Well, it makes you wonder if that Star Wars What If actually gets off the ground, what visual style that they're going to go with.
Yeah. I'd love them to keep this style going up. I love looking at this stuff. So that is a good question to see if it is tied into Star Wars What If, which we talked about in last week's episode. So if you have not listened to last week's episode, tune in and it'll be there. Let's shift gears into Sony. Sony, we were laughing at them earlier with their Morbin Time and Madam Web and how successful that is going to be, right? We're very excited to all go out and watch it. But one of the things Sony's continually hits out of the park in their Spider-Man universe is their animated projects, right? Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse, both huge successes, huge wins. And one of the rumors to come out of this is Sony is looking to develop an R-rated movie based on the character Spider-Punk from those, I guess, the second series, Across the Spider-Verse. From Sony's Pictures Animation. Now, I imagine, Mike, if you will, this is going to be only in the Spider-Punk art style, which was that grungy, was it magazine cutout style thing? Kind of looked like people who were into quote-unquote zines back in the day from the punk rock era. So is this something that would tickle your interest?
I mean,
Daniel Kaluuya was a good actor for it, too.
I mean, amazing part of the second Spider-Verse movie. It seems like a lot for my eyes to take in, an entire feature in that art style, which was very kinetic. There was a lot going on there. I mean, it looked gorgeous, obviously. Yeah. I feel like any sort of thing that Sony announces, like spin-off wise or adjacent wise, that has like a spider character in it, I'm just like not holding my breath. Like even the first Spider-Verse movie that came out, we kept hearing about how they was going to do like a spinoff with like Spider-Ham, which I think did that even happen?
They had a short video for it. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just like I feel like these ideas pop out there a lot. You know, I know this is like live action, but they've been talking about like Silk forever now, and I haven't seen anything come to fruition.
They had Silver and Black that was shut down like literally the week before they were starting to filming. Remember that show? So.
It seems like anything that is relatively close to looking like a Spider character on the big screen never happened. So I'm just gonna file this until I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah. Again, this is rumor. This is not a confirmation from Sony. So I'll put that little asterisk there as a rumor. But if I was to look at across the Spider-Verse or any of the Spider-Verse movies, I would not have put my money on Spider-Punk to be the standout character. Obviously, he was a great standout. He was, all against the system, that he had that, kind of anarchy vibe going on. But like, I could have more felt like them leaning, hey, we're going to do a Gwen movie, or hey, we're going to do Peter B. Parker movie, or maybe even in Miles' universe, a prequel to that Spider-Man that was voiced by Chris Pine, right? So I would, or maybe even a Miguel, Spider-Man 2099 film. This is not the one I would have picked to do that, because it's going to be, if they do go through with this, and I feel animation has a stronger success rate over at Sony than live action. Like you mentioned, this is not an easy style to replicate. It's colors, black and white. It is changing way more frequently than any of the other characters kind of going on.
Also, too, like the magic of the Spider-Verse universe is all of the crossover, the fun mashing of styles and characters. I'm not saying a writer couldn't write something interesting in that world, but I feel like the audience would be trained going into it, going like, well, where's all the other Spider people? Where's the universe hopping? Where's like this extra factor that we've been drawn to?
I kind of disagree on that, because that's essentially what comic books are, right? The single characters, they can do the one-offs with that. But this is an R-rated animated film, is going to be even harder to sell, right? Like, the animation usually you make it to get kids to go see it, right? You're going to animation, it's already going to have a lower audience draw for most animated films, and then to make it R-rated and put an even bigger barrier up, I think you're going to have a hard time seeing some success on this. And Sony doesn't do streaming services; they license all their stuff out, so it wouldn't be something to draw people to their Sony branded Spider-Man streaming service either. So I'm just sure if they do it, great. I'm sure they will do a great job. They've not given me any reason to doubt them in the animated world yet, but of all the things that could be rumoring or picking, stick with El Muerto, right? No, I'm kidding. Don't stick with him. I'm pretty sure that was canceled. That was supposed to come out like 2 weeks ago. I don't know if you knew that or not. The original release date was like 2 weeks ago when they announced it. So we didn't get that, but yeah, anyway, we'll keep you guys praised if this rumor becomes any more of a rumor or closer to reality. Superman, I keep James Gunn's just all over the place, Mike, with social media, debunking things, not debunking things, stirring the pot, whatever he's doing. I've even seen more articles as we were coming in here about this, but James Gunn confirms that J.J. Abrams' Superman movie is still a possibility. And I don't know if you remember this movie about being the Black Superman origin movie that they were working on years ago at Warner Brothers. So apparently that's still an opportunity, a possibility. James Gunn did say it's unrelated to the DCU if it did come out, and it would be in Elseworlds like Joker and the Batman. Do you do that after all the hype for this one Superman movie that the entire DCU is riding on? Like,
yeah, it seems weird. Like I'll harken back to what I said months and months and months ago. Like, James Gunn, just put the phone down and get to work. I'm not saying it's keeping you from getting your work done, but you're just putting too many not even mixed messages out there. Just like you said, stirring the pot. Like, just leave the pot still until it's ready to eat, like we don't need you popping on social media and giving us updates on casting or whatever. It's not
just make an official announcement. Like, that's what we need.
Like, the rumors are going to mill around no matter what. Like, it is fun every once in a while to see him come in and debunk stuff, But it's just like, dude, like your station is like so above that now. Like you don't need to worry about all of this. Like just like, I don't know, go to some like miraculous like island in Fiji and sit in a cabana and write something. You know?
So here is where I sit with this. One, I got two things. One, this is not going to happen. This Superman movie will not happen from J.J. Abrams. At least not anytime in the next 5 years, which is what I give the DCU time to either fail or succeed. Either one is both possible. And two, not saying that normal people would see this news, but average people of users of social media who fall for those AI movie posters where like all their favorite actors are gonna be in this new movie next year, right? You ever see those social posts? And everyone's like, oh my god, I can't believe it. And it takes everything in my being to say no, this is not real, because I hate crushing people's hopes, but I'm like, this is obviously fake. Like, this is not real. Just do a Google. But like, you're gonna confuse people by saying, yeah, I've got Superman, and no, we're also doing another Superman, even though they're probably not doing it, right? Like, we always use Mike's mom as a reference here.
Barometer.
Yeah, so like, hey, Mike's mom, are you gonna go watch James Gunn Superman or J.J. Abrams Superman? And boy, she's gonna be like my favorite cat meme currently, where she goes, huh kind of like people just don't know, right? So don't, like you mentioned, this is a situation where you don't need to poke it with a stick. Don't even stir the pot. Don't even bring it back to the top. Let it cook at the bottom, and then when it's ready, bring it up.
It's like when you're reading like a I feel like it's usually like a rice recipe. It says like, put the lid on and don't lift it up. No matter what you do, leave that lid on there.
Exactly. Just let it cook till it's done. Don't. This is very, very early on. I'm going to read the quote here, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, go ahead.
So he said, so if it comes in and it's great, which I haven't read the script, and if the timing is right, that could absolutely happen, which tells me he doesn't want to do it. That's totally unrelated. It would be an Elseworlds tale like Joker. So like, even his statement was so non-committal. I feel like he was just placating other people as well. Like, just
maybe, I mean, maybe he's doing some like 4D chest here with like PR of just like, I don't want to create the headline of like James Gunn cancels Black Superman movie, which I feel like might be the headline, because like I've seen some of the concept art that people like whipped up of Michael B. Jordan like in the Superman costume. It looks awesome. It looks cool. Everyone loves Michael B. Jordan, so it would be fun to see it, but it seems like Warner Brothers hired Gunn for a reason. It's just like, you it's broken. Just fix all of this stuff, and
even if it's not broken,
like trying to fix it.
Just be successful. Like, do something good for us. Like, we need a win. Please get a win for us with Superman.
Yeah, Warner Brothers and DC is just like, our kitchen exploded. All of the plumbing is leaking. The stove is on fire, and then people are asking him about like, oh, are you gonna paint the wall in the garage? It's just like, no, like, leave me alone. I'm trying to stop the house from
the neighbor comes by like, hey, I noticed your trash can's been out an extra hour longer than it should be. Are you gonna bring that back in, kind of deal? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What headline can I write about your garbage can?
Yeah, so it's just one of those things, like, I would have just left it alone. Like, I understand he wants to interact with fans. He wants to keep the spotlight on the DCU, right? Like, he's doing a good job by keeping it front of mind, like you mentioned. But like, this is one of those situations I was just like, nah, just ignore it. Just go to the next one. Just pick out something else and go down that road. But here we are talking about J.J. Abrams' Superman movie yet again. Jurassic Park. Mike, I watched Jurassic Park the other day, the original one, because I bought the 4K Blu-ray when it was on sale. I love watching the original Jurassic Park a lot.
So good.
It is great. I after that's diminishing returns for me as well. You're not getting as good stuff. But that first one's just classic. It's magical, and there is now Universal is developing a new movie in the Jurassic Park franchise, essentially Jurassic Park or 7 or Jurassic World 4, whatever you want to call it at this point. But in that good news, screenwriter David Koepp, who wrote Jurassic Park, is writing the script. He wrote the original one, not anything recently on that world.
I mean, it's interesting, you know, you're bringing in like the pedigree, at least, of this guy worked on the original that everyone loves, so maybe we can get something going there. I mean, one thing that maybe some people forget is that the original is based on a book, so you're not really working from source material anymore. I'm not saying this guy can't write stuff that's not based on books, but the reason I think the story is so strong is it was proven in novel form first, you know?
So Michael Crichton is one of my favorite science fiction writers. The book and movie are nothing alike. I'll tell you that right now. Like, they are nothing the same at all. So this is one of those situations where the book is good, the movie's good, but they are not very similar. They actually have two entirely different kind of things going on along the way. Same with The Lost World, which was a book as well. That movie didn't come out and do very well either, did it? So. Yeah,
I mean, if we're looking at maybe, because I enjoyed the first Jurassic World for what it was, and obviously we both love Jurassic Park. I mean, what do those two films have in common is, like, it's a theme park where dinosaurs wreak havoc. So, like, is there a way to bring that magic back in? I don't know how you manufacture that setting again.
Stop. All the new movies have the same problem with, they're like, we're blending DNA. We're creating forbidden dinosaurs, right? Like, cut it out. Make it magical. Make it like the first time again. And I just looked up David Koepp, by the way. He wrote Mission Impossible 1996. He did work on The Lost World, Jurassic Park. He wrote on Spider-Man 2002 with Tobey Maguire. He's got some good ones in here. He's got some bad ones. I'm not gonna lie to you. He wrote the 2017 The Mummy with Tom Cruise. He wrote Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull with George Lucas, though. So how much do you tell George Lucas no on his own property? But you know, he's got some stuff back and forth here, if you will. But I want to capture that magic of Jurassic Park, right? Like, it was a small, it wasn't a huge film. The park wasn't open. It was a small scale film. They were trying to sell this majesty, and then the majesty, essentially everything in that movie goes to hell because one guy was greedy, right? You have the IT guy, I can't think of his name, Newman. He was getting greedy and he wanted to do things for himself. And get more money, and everything went to hell and people died. So, like, how do you return to the majesty / horror of that first movie, right? As you mentioned, without having the park. It's no longer an amusement. Like, we've done the amusement park version where it was successful. How can we go back and harken back to something simpler?
Yeah, it's different. Like, do you even contemplate the idea of rebooting the universe in any way? Because the one thing that Jurassic World, I think, does really successfully is like they come at it from the angle of like, oh, dinosaurs are boring now. You know, we've successfully brought them back. Kids have seen them. You know, canonically in that world, they've been on the news, right, running through San Francisco, if I remember correctly, which I only learned recently that all that stuff was actually filmed in downtown Burbank, which I could like walk to, which is pretty fun. I gotta rewatch that part.
I'm gonna need some photos from the movie, and then you in those same spots as well. So.
Yeah, I should do that. So they do a good job of referencing that, and then like, well, we're actually like a theme park. So like, how do you do that setting again? I think the only pitch I have, and this does not help the story in any way, is just like your first 3 movies were Jurassic Park. The following 3 movies were Jurassic World. I think you need a new title. Maybe if you're following with like the theme park theme, you could go Jurassic Land. Maybe something like that, and then at least you could kind of prime your audience.
Jurassic
in their head
Universe is even bigger.
Oh no! Like, you at least got to prime your audience that you're kind of starting a new adventure in a way. I think. I mean, and I know this isn't Jurassic Park itself, but like, I just want like a Dino Crisis movie, like, and that's kind of, you got a little bit of that in Jurassic World 2 when they were in the mansion, but that was intense to have like a full-on dinosaur trapped in like a facility with you, and that's like one of the cooler parts of the first Jurassic Park movie when
the raptors,
she's trying to turn and prime all of those fuses and everything. Like, that's so intense. So I don't know how you bring this all back into theme parks again, but that seems to be the way to do it.
It could be, if they keep it in the world, and I've not seen. I'm gonna be honest. I've not seen Jurassic World 2 or 3, but I've read their plot points, so I understand these movies. At the end of Jurassic World 3, whatever it's called, essentially dinosaurs are out in the world, and we just have to live with them, right? Like that's they are now out in the world as it is. So is it like something you mentioned Jurassic Land gave me the idea of like maybe they move them to like, they find a way to migrate them to Greenland or like Iceland or something, right? Like we now have a huge, like, not continent, but like enough land where like all the dinosaurs are always here all the time. What do you do with that? I don't want the bioengineering anymore, but like, what can you do with those expeditions and excursions and stuff like that there?
Maybe this might be a little bit too cheesy of a title, but what about like Jurassic University? Where
I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Like now that like dinosaurs are like back in the world, they're a universe, they're ubiquitous or whatever. We need more dinosaur just experts in the world. So maybe there's a university, and that's where you go to like major in dinosaurs, and then the campus becomes your setting for the movie, right? There's got to be dinosaurs there in some aspect, and then so maybe the dinosaurs. I mean, there is kind of like a campus setting in the third Jurassic World movie, but it's kind of more set as like an Apple type
Tech
of
park.
Business park thing. So I don't know. That's my pitch. Maybe a university, because like I don't know how you convince the audience that another theme park could still exist after a volcano and escaping and everything.
I think that the theme park is, if anything, I don't want the theme park to be operational. I think that's the important part, right? Like that's the part of the first one. They're touring it to give a blessing on a theme park, so it wasn't operational. And guess what? That theme park was. It went to shit because like nothing even showed up on it, right? Like they were like, you can't, like they didn't see the dinosaurs, the T-Rex didn't show up, and John Hammond was all mad that like no one got to see the actual theme park in operation because they just weren't working. So how do you do that? Is it is it scientific? Is it natural, naturalistic? Do they treat it like a Disney where like different countries are opening their own versions of Jurassic Park kind of deal? And maybe it's like a Russian Jurassic Park where they skimped on all the security and everything's gone to hell over there. So I don't know. There's a lot of options.
I have the idea.
Oh no!
I can't. It's basically the pitch is Jurassic Park meets Joe Exotic and Tiger King.
Oh god!
You have some sort of backwoods person who's like cobbling together their own illegal Jurassic Park, and then oh man, that is it. That's how you do it. Nothing smaller scale than small town.
So is it?
Oh man,
Joe Jurassic. Is it Joe Jurassic?
Yeah, this has to be it. And then like you don't like literally do Joe Exotic, but you do a type, and then the dinosaur experts, they gotta come in, and I love it.
Okay, I think the flip side of this, we're back a dinosaur story, and we find the way to give all the dinosaurs human personalities, and make them super friendly.
Now.
Yeah, they're talking. They're friendly.
There's a voice collar you put on them.
No, it's magic, and then when or whatever it is, and then you take away the magic, they revert back to like their, I guess, inhibited dinosaur selves.
Like a fairy tale. I love it.
It's a Steven Spielberg movie as well, by the way. We're back at Dinosaur Story, I think produced.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Lastly, Avatar: The Last Airbender has a Netflix live action adaptation coming out, I believe, late February. And the new trailer, I would say this is like the first trailer for me. The first, not a teaser, it's a trailer. Has released 2.5 minutes for this, and while I have not finished the third book, the third final season yet, I see scenes in this that are visually the same, kinetically the same as what I saw in the first season, and that has me excited. Now, I am not the Avatar person. I'm new to this. Again, I haven't even finished it. You are my go-to expert here. Tell me, how do you feel about this?
Yeah, I mean, it looks great visually, right? But just I feel like every time I watch anything adapted over at Netflix, I have to be nervous, right? Because like, is this amazing, but nobody watches it and we never get a second season? is this, does this end up being mediocre, but enough people watch it so they keep it going, and I hate it and I don't want to watch it anymore. There's so many scenarios where like I'm not happy. So for them to thread the needle, like I'm hoping they just capture the same like energy and success that they did from One Piece. I know traditionally The Last Airbender is an anime, but you're really hooking into very similar audiences there. So I'm really hoping this works out. This is the first time you kind of get to see any performances of the characters, really, because all that's really been shared on social media has been like pictures and like official like character
like
posters.
Studio shots, even like nothing in action.
Yeah, Zuko, he looks amazing. The energy of the couple scenes that he's in really fits the character of brash, youngster just out to prove himself. Katara and Aang, I'm a little bit more cool on. I don't know if it was maybe just the scenes that they focused on, but I was like, I feel like they don't feel necessarily like the characters I remember from the animated series, but they can grow into it. That's the thing. That's the great thing, is they can always grow into this. If they end up doing like, let's say, if they do like one book per season, which who knows, maybe if the show's popular enough and they really start getting into some nitty gritty of the story materials, they could even possibly do 2 books per season. They could, and even if they only do 3 seasons.
2 seasons per book. 2 seasons per book.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, whatever they end up doing, right? If they end up going into like a production cycle of something like a Stranger Things, like these 3 seasons could last 6+ years. So what's nice is all of these characters now have the opportunity to grow into the roles, which I think is pretty interesting and might actually serve better than the original source material, because all of the kids kind of perpetually remain the same age. And I don't remember the exact time frame of the original animated series, but it seems relatively condensed down to maybe a couple, like, planetary seasons, or maybe a year or 2 at most. But it is a big epic journey that they go on. But if it spans out more realistically over a couple years and the characters grow up, I think that's kind of great, because there's a love interest between Katara and Aang that, might seem a little bit more impactful when they're a little bit older, because in the animated series they like end up kissing, and it feels kind of odd because like, these are like kind of children I'm watching kiss on screen, but obviously it's an animated show, the audience was for kids, so it's really not as weird what you think about it. But I think this is just one of the aspects that could improve live action overall. I think the actor that's playing Sokka is great. He seems like goofy and corny. It almost seems like he could do the voice of the animated character, and it would be like a really good duplicate. So there's a lot of really good looking stuff in here, but I have to be cautious. I have to guard myself.
Yeah, I'm the other way. I don't have a dog in this fight, if you will, but I'm excited to see it. It's only because it looked, from what I've seen recently, it looks the same, right? I see the scenes, the Fire Nation's big ships on the water. That was a huge thing. What is it? The masked? I don't know the name of the masked dude who is like a thief. Obviously, whatever his name is.
I don't remember if it's like the Blue Spirit or something like that. But that character doesn't show up in book 1 until kind of like the second half of the book. So that kind of what makes me think, maybe we are doing the full book here. Yeah, in season 1.
And it looks like they condensed it down. Obviously, there's the Earthbending city with the old guy, Aang's friend from when he was a kid. He's in here. I forget what that city's called, but it has all the slides and the the big earthbending things. Obviously it looks, for me, looks true to it. All the characters look good. The big fluffy dude, the bison. Appa. He looks fantastic, right? Like everything in this looks really, really good. The bending looks phenomenal. This is not what I saw in the late 2000s from the movie version, which I saw without having seen the show, and I was like, yeah, this is even boring from a movie version. This looks good. But between this, One Piece, which got us on board for a show we've never seen before, and and I'm gonna butcher the name again unless you tell me to get it right. Yu Yu Hakusho. Is that?
Yu Yu Hakusho. Yeah.
Hakusho, yeah.
Close.
So
Yeah.
that the success of that kind of coming off of this, it sounds like Netflix is putting in some of the work for this to keep it going. So, and I also know Avatar's getting that resurgence, right? They have that new animated studio that's working on the other movies in the Avatar universe, the 3 movies. So hopefully, this does land and gets everyone, the hardcore fans that have been around for almost 20 years, Mike, on board to keep watching this and get more to it. I imagine, to me, this is me, 3 seasons, maybe 4 if they want to split the last season into 2, kind of along the way. So we'll see more. But yeah, that's obviously you're the one who's seen it and lived with it, and needs to keep your guard up so you don't get that
Yes.
M. Night
Don't hurt me
Shyamalan
again.
movie again along the way.
Don't hurt me again, Hollywood.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll keep you guys posted. Link to that trailer is in our show notes if you want to watch the official trailer. Mike, that's the show for this week. We're gonna get off of here. I need to go see who's winning the Super Bowl pregame thing so I can get ready for my trailer. I'm working on my menu for the next 2 weeks.
Nice, I love it.
I'm gonna try a barbecue meatball. I'm gonna try do some of that, and then get some wings, and then just oven cook as many wings as I can for everybody to eat on. So excited for that. With the bone on, by the way, not boneless for me. But if you got anything, let me know. But if people know what you're up to, what you're doing, Big Daddy, where can they find you at?
They can find Big Daddy making webcomics over at liferewardsrisk.com and pickledcomics.com. Chris, if people want to catch up with you, where are you?
You can find me on Instagram, Valdan87, VALDAN, or Video Game Systems of the same name. If people know about the show, what we're doing every week, where can they find all the good stuff at?
Oh, all you got to do is head on over to superheroslate.com. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, wherever else you love to listen to find podcasts like our own. We've got merch at superheroslate.com/store. We love hearing from you. Do you got your Madam Web tickets, or are you more of a Dune 2 type of person? I'm sure it's 50-50. Our world is so bifurcated down the middle. You got the Madam Webs and you got the Dune sequels. So let us know what you're going to go see out in the world. And we love our super fans. If you want to be a super fan of the show, it's easy. All you got to do is share the show with a friend, share the show with a buddy, and we will be here every week, folks.
That's right. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.